Hey everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. On this episode, I am really excited to have with me Mark Slaughter and Jason Herndon. We're going to be talking all about the new release for the Fear No Evil album set to come out later this year. I think you guys are going to be really excited to hear what they have in store for us. I also want to take a moment and thank Mark for joining us straight from his hotel room just a couple of hours before one of his concerts. Thanks a lot, Mark. Alrighty, like I said, I think you guys are going to really enjoy this one, so let's jump in and let's get started. Welcome to the latest episode of the Rock Experience with Mike Brunn. Today I have not one but two great guests with me. First, Mark Slaughter, welcome to the show. How are you doing today, Mark?
Thank you. Doing in a hotel room. Going to be on the stage in about 4 hours, so all good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And we'll talk about concerts coming back in a moment, but I also want to introduce Jason Herndon. How are you doing today, Jason?
I'm good, Mike. Thanks for having us both on.
Yes,
appreciate it, buddy.
Absolutely. And, I wanted to be here today to talk with you guys about the new album release, or should I say re-release of the Fear No Evil album. So congratulations to both of you guys. That guy's coming out. So, Mark, let's just kind of take us back to 1995, right? This was Slaughter's third album. The first two albums did exceptionally well. The landscape of music changed quite a bit. What do you remember about recording the album?
What I remember about it is we were really going for a purist sound. So we were really trying to dial in the best tones that were like a live band tone. The first record was a studio record that, was producers and writers. It was us doing it. In fact, we're the only band from our genre that wrote, produced, and still perform our own music. But at that time, we really wanted to bring something forward after touring with Kiss and after touring with Ozzy and Poison, etc. We wanted to bring that live element into a record, and that's really what we tried to do with this particular record, is bring that whole vibe.
Yeah, one of the things I always loved about the album in the 90s, I'll be honest, I loved, Jason, sorry, I know I'm going to offend you. I loved the Nirvanas and all of that stuff, but I also
totally kidding.
But I stayed with all of the 80s and early 90s bands, and I loved that Slaughter kept true to your sound on this album, and it really was still that classic Slaughter sound, which I love that you guys kind of stay true to that.
Thanks. Yeah, it's, again, Soundgarden, great band, it's just a different time, and everybody, it's kind of like every 10 years, they kind of shoot off those bands that were in that 10 year, and then it seems to circle back. So whether you're looking at the 60s, 70s, 80s, whatever, a good song is a good song. And, no one can deny that Nirvana had some great songs. So there's nothing wrong with that. And it was time for their turn in that. And this record was the Fear No Evil record was one that we weren't paying attention to, hey, we got to do this. We just wanted to do what we do. Slaughter is always about the classic rock infusion of all the stuff that we grew up with. And I think this record is covered with it all the way into, It'll Be All Right, which is a tip of the hat to the Beatles. I mean, but that's our influences. That's where we came from. And that's what the record, unapologetically is,
Oh, with that, I'm glad you brought up It'll Be All Right, because to me, that had such hit potential. And I think 2-3 years earlier, it would have been a huge hit for the band, right? It reminds me of like Days Gone By, the Beatles, and it still had that great sound.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're influenced by, whether it's the Beatles, McCartney, Lennon, or any of those guys individually. The bottom line is a good song. Again, a good song is a good song, and that's what we really try to do in every one of these records, is to write songs that are a soundtrack that people can emotionally relate to. Because if we can't emotionally relate to it, then the audience isn't going to either. And we really, we got lost in this record. I think sonically there was a lot of turmoil. I mean, we're dealing with all the craziness in the world, the whole just everything was just starting to get a little crazy. It wasn't just the happiness of the 80s, which is just an innocent time, so to speak,
Mm-hmm.
comparatively in any way,
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
But one of the things I always loved about the album, and Jason, I wonder, because I know you're a big fan also,
Huge.
I felt like the lyrics, whether it's like, let the good times roll, live like there's no tomorrow, right?
Right.
There's still that positive outlook. So you had that grunge scene that was all doom and gloom, which again, I loved, right? But then the opposite side was the Slaughter, kind of let the good times roll, and I kind of loved that you still keep that positive vibe going.
Well, and to get used to it was one of those things of a quote that I always say, which is, what you think of me is none of my business, because if I worry about what everybody thinks of me, I won't be myself. So we just do what we do. And, whether you like it or don't, it's what we do. We've carved a piece of the pie, so to speak, that nostalgically we're still out here. I'm up here in Minnesota. I'm going to be in Colorado in a few days, doing shows again. So it's like, it's given us the freedom, and it's become a part of all these people's lives in many ways. But this is a sleeper record that I don't think a lot of people have discovered it. And for the audiophile people that really like that, special one-off, box that is really important and part of a collection, certainly that's what the Spirit No Evil box set is about.
Absolutely. That's one of the things I was so excited when I saw that Jason was doing this album with you, is because, like you just said, I don't think enough people discovered this album in '95 when it first came out. And it's got some of my favorite Slaughter songs on it, whether it was Searching, which honestly, I didn't even know you guys ever did a video for until about a year ago. I was like, holy crap, I missed that. I wasn't playing that. But it's been one of my favorite Slaughter songs for 20 years. And I love how you always sang that in like a deeper voice. I could play that for somebody.
Right.
They might not, if they don't know that Slaughter, they're not going to say, oh, that's Mark Slaughter.
They won't know. Yeah.
Right.
They won't know. And again, that's part of one of the things of you get into, I was a huge Foreigner fan, and I love Lou Gramm, and, Dana he said, that's a part of your voice people don't know. I can't go there too much, because what happens is you lose your identity when you sing in a different timbre than you normally do, but it is a part of where I sing. So it was very different to do something like that on this record. And that was the kind of the one and only video single, or that that we did off that. It was pretty crazy, but again, we like, as songwriters, we like to go down that river as it flows and not just do the same old.
Absolutely. And one other song I want to highlight, then I want to talk about the new box that's coming out, right? Break Down and Cry. I love that song. It's got such a Zeppelin feel to it, but what an incredible song. Can you talk about that one a little bit, Mark?
It's funny. I'm not much of a partier at all. And it's one of those things that, I've never had a hangover in my life and never thrown up from drinking. I mean, I'm definitely the milk and cookies of rock and roll on that side. But I said to Dana, I said, you know what, man, this is a great song, but I'm just too fucking happy to do this right. So I walked across the street. You don't even know this, Jason.
I know.
I walked across the street. I walked across the street to this liquor store, which is, across from Pasha, where we recorded this. And I got like a fifth of something. And I came back over and I started nipping on the bottle. And it was the whole concept to me. I listen to Billie Holiday and a lot of crazy stuff, and everybody kind of argues what time was better for Billie, when she was straight or when she was intoxicated. I mean, I'm not going to do heroin like she was doing or whatever was going on. But when I wrote the lyrics and I sang it, it was all with a buzz, and that's the only time I've ever done that in my life.
Wow.
And nobody's ever heard this. You're hearing the first time on the show.
This is awesome.
When I did, so when I did that, it was like one of those things of, okay, there we have it. So fast forward, we come back to retract the song, and the original vocal was so real that we just said, let's just use the original vocal.
Wow. Because
it was not perfect, and it is in the imperfections of it that make it that way. So, it was an odd experiment, but it certainly worked for what the song says and what it is. Mm-hmm. But that was a very different thing for me to do in the studio, because it's unlike me, but the song was unlike Slaughter, so we had to go there.
Right. No, and it's, like I said, I think it's one of the great songs on the album. So, Jason, what made you decide to go after Fear No Evil, and when did you first approach Mark about this?
Well, so Joe Lalich, my partner, and I, he's our graphics guy, and much more than that, but that's his main thing. Joe and I had been involved with a couple of Ace projects prior to stepping out on our own, and so a couple of years ago, year and a half ago or so, we decided we're going to create our own company and continue to try to reissue these records that we were really, really, really in love with, and artists that we were really in love with. And of course, so a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, we did the 5th anniversary edition of Ace Frehley, Space Invader.
And I got to pause you there for a second. I got to pause you, right? Because I've told you many times I want to go on record. The best deluxe edition album I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you, Mike. You're too kind.
Yeah, it's done very, very, very well. I agree. It's beautiful.
We spent a lot of money on that thing and made very little on it because we put so much into it, and that's what record labels tend to do today. Like, you get somebody like Friday Music, no offense to what they're doing, but all they're doing is going and getting the license, and they're just putting it out. And many times they're using CD mastered files, and you're getting CD mastered audio on vinyl, and that makes no sense. So Joe and I didn't want to do that. We decided that we were going to put even if we just broke even, as long as we break even, we're okay. We don't want to be out any money, in our pockets. We decided that we wanted to go out and do just what we as vinyl collectors would want in our collections. And so we did the Ace record, hugely successful. And so we went after a couple of more Kiss-related records that we thought we were going to get, but they didn't come through. And I finally said, Joe, let's just start going after bands that we are fans of. That's not Kiss. We've got this built-in 20,000 people base that are Kiss fans that buy all of this Kiss stuff. Most of the bands that we love are, it's going to be crossover. So the very first band I said was, we need to go after the Slaughter CMC International catalog, which was, the records that came out after they were on EMI. So all the records after the Wildlife. Yep. And he was like, great, and it just so happens that one of my closest friends is Pat Lucero, who happens to be Mark's childhood best friend. So,
and a great guy.
There you go.
Yes, yeah. So we had that unique situation to where I could just reach out to Pat and say, hey, let's, I want to do these records and I want to do them right. Let's reach out. If you don't mind, would you reach out to Mark and see if he'd be interested in working with us to put these out? So that's how it went. Basically, I just reached out I had to do a little research because CMC went bankrupt, was sold around a few times, and we didn't know where those assets lay anymore, meaning we didn't know who owned the rights and who would do the licensing on those things. So I finally tracked it down. It had went to Universal and it came back to BMG, and I found it at BMG and Sanctuary in the UK, and I got hooked up with their licensing department over there, and they said, absolutely, what are you wanting to do? And so that's when Joe and I started planning on exactly what we wanted these things to look like. And so we signed contracts. We set up a proposal for Mark and Dana, and we said, these are all the things that we want to do with it, and if we would love for you guys to be involved, because it would be a much better product if the band was fully involved, and they are,
Right.
So
right. Yeah, that definitive edition, it does have like signed items.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you all about all.
Go ahead.
That stuff.
Go ahead.
So what we're doing is we're going to release a definitive. We're calling these the box sets components of them. We're calling them the definitive editions of the records. And what that means, since Mark and Dana are working with us, is we get to go into the band's archives, because, as Mark said, they are a totally, completely self-contained band. Dana engineered all those records. They did all of that stuff themselves. So they have all their masters, which is great, because when BMG sent me the assets, they sent me CD files.
Oh, wow.
Which is how I know that all of these other, record labels are doing the same thing. So you have to go back and track down the masters somehow, or at least a non, CD mastered. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So we go back. So Dana, we've gotten to go through all of their archives. We've got just the best representation of the album, plus a plethora of bonus tracks. So basically what we're doing is we're making these box sets. We're doing 500 copies each of them. And I may miss some stuff, but so they're going to be remastered for vinyl by Maor Appelbaum. So each record we're going to have, they're going to be 2 LP, 45 RPM, half speed mastered. And the reason that is, some people have asked, some people have complained, because when you do 45 RPM mastering, that means you're only getting 2 or 3 songs per side of the record, and you're having to flip it a lot.
Okay.
But the reason we're doing that is because, this record was written and recorded for the CD era. It's never been released on vinyl before.
Never, right.
And it's just too long to be on a single 33 RPM properly. So like by 10 minutes, 10 or 12 minutes too long. So if you split that up over 2 33 RPM LPs, you get side 1, 2, and 3, and nothing on side 4. So I said, well, it is the perfect length that lends itself to half speed mastering. So we get 3 songs per side, for all 4 sides. So we're going to do that. Then there's going to be a bonus record. It's on this particular box. There are 9 bonus tracks, some never before heard, some only released in Japan. We're doing a 48-page booklet.
And those are also mastered. Those are also mastered by
Maor's mastering all of that stuff. So we're doing a 48-page book with lots of never before seen photos. That was something that I strived to do. Was I reached out to every single photographer that was ever involved in this project.
Wow.
And was having those guys go back to 100 meg zip drives to try to find their original files. So we've got there'll be cool stuff in there, like the original cover art that was rejected, and outtakes from the back cover photos, all kinds of stuff. We're printing 5 black and white glossies that'll be in it. There will be a replica backstage pass. And then Mark and Dana offered what we're calling a golden ticket. So each person that buys the box has 1 in 500 chance of getting a Spend My Life with You pass to see the band anywhere in the world for free for the longevity of the band, the rest of their, however long they planned on touring. So there's only going to be 1 of those.
Yeah.
So
what I love about that, Jason, is that people normally don't want to open up their albums these days, right?
Right.
You kind of, I'll say, pushing that a little bit. Open that up. You might get that winning ticket inside.
Yeah, I'll have to say that wasn't my idea. That was Dana's idea, and a brilliant idea, I think. So,
that's it. We've always been a fan-oriented band, so that's one of the things that we look at. Well, what would be cool if somebody that we loved, if it was Zeppelin, Sabbath, or Kiss, or whomever, to do that? That would be the coolest thing ever.
That's right.
So that's why we did it.
That's right. So all the boxes will be signed by all three surviving members of the band. Of course, we know Tim Kelly passed away many years ago. There will be a tribute to Tim on the record, and I'm not telling anybody what it is. I want to let them figure it out. So you got to really look at it to really tell, because it will not be obvious, but there will be a cool Tim Kelly tribute in there. And so Mark and Dana and Bloss are all signing these. And of course they'll be housed in a box. You know, the jacket, the album will be a gatefold and everything. And then we're also doing 500 of those. We're doing 1,000 standard copies. The vinyl for the record in the box set is black for audiophiles. And the standard version, the quote unquote standard version, it'll still be 2 LP, 45 RPM, in a gatefold sleeve and everything, but it's going to be colored vinyl.
Nice.
So that's Gene Simmons marketing 101.
I was
right?
going to say, now you have to pick up both.
You got to give them a reason to buy both. So, and I would say 50% of our orders have been a purchase of both.
That's awesome.
Right.
So one thing I do need to make clear is this is on pre-sale now. You can go to kissmywaxrecords.com to buy either version or both. We are down to about 82 boxes. That's all that's left, and it's gone. Still got 500 or 600 standards, which is fine. And we may try to push some of those out into the stores at a later point in time in the year. But right now the boxes are almost gone. So if you want to get in on this, kissmywaxrecords.com, you need to do that immediately, because there won't be any more.
Right, so those who are watching this, don't delay. There's only 80 left there. Jason and Mark, I want to go back to one of the things that you said is in the box, and that's the 9 demos / rare tracks. So, Mark, what do you remember? I mean, are these, I guess, some of the demos from the album? Can you talk a little bit about some of those tracks?
Well, a lot of times we would Dana and I would write the ideas, and then we actually went into, which is different than we normally do. We kind of ran through it at my house in Las Vegas at the time. Just in my room, and just went over the ideas of how we would do endings and how different grooves we would come up with on it. And then we went into the studio, did it, and recorded it up in that version. Then we live with it. And that's how Dana and I have always done it, is we come up with the ideas, come up with the melodies, and go, is this what we want for this record? And, we've always had, there's, for instance, Move to the Music was one of the ideas we had originally on the Stick It To You stuff that we pushed forward. Days Gone By, we had the original idea. We pushed that forward to the next record. So this was all those ideas in that side of it that we put down, basically in its organic form, and including we did a cover of Elton John's Saturday Night, and that was one of the things that we just loved. We loved the song. I've never been much for knowing the lyrics, because I come from a guitar background, so I'm reading the lyrics down, much like the other stuff that we're recording, because it's like, I write the lyrics down, okay, roll tape, and then we would do it, and so it's kind of like, it was real spontaneous, it was real live. And I think that's what we really love about this record, is it was a really true form of what the band was. And there's a lot of great memories to this record. It was a good time, even though there was a change of the guard, so to speak, as Nirvana, and that we were still a heavy touring band. We toured the daylights out of this record. We played a lot of, it was the toughest time. Dana says it was the shit years of Slaughter, because we went into, my porch is bigger than some of the places we played, but it was really one of those things that you go, what, that's what you do. You go out there. And I think that a lot of the, especially in Europe, a lot of people, because the band was put together by studio cats, meaning Dana and I, even though we came from Vinnie Vincent, people just looked at us as a studio band instead of a live band. Right. And I think a lot of that live element of doing those shows has proven over the years that we are a touring band. as I sit up here in Minnesota on the opening of a pandemic, we are that. So this is what we do. And but again, you're right. The quality that these guys did on the Ace Frehley record was definitely the selling point. Also, the fact that if the quality is good, the band is involved, and I think that this is a time capsule that Dana and I both agree that to have a time capsule that's done with love and that comes from the band and the label working together and things done remastered for vinyl. I know this is kind of a long explanation, but I think it's important that people know the difference technically. When you record for a CD, they call it brick wall mastering. So your waves go like this, right? So what happens is they squash it down like that. So the waves are actually cut. So what a wave would be like that, and the top is cut. That's called a square wave. Technically, that is distortion. A square wave is distortion. So what happens with albums, you have to turn the volume up just a little bit more, but there is no cut off of those waves. It's just your waves are living within that space. So that's why audiophile people are like, vinyl sounds better, because in essence it does, because you have dynamics. That means that everything's not pushed down and squashed up and putting it in a box. That means that you have room for a snare to breathe, crack, and then you hear the air of it. Right. So, and basically, we wanted to create a time capsule, not only for the fans, but for ourselves. We're really excited to get this package ourselves, because this is the form that we want our art to be done in, and for the time capsule to represent what the band is. So in essence, that time capsule is the Vault series on that is that.
Right. Yeah, so if I can expound on a little bit of that stuff, because Mark was saying things that kept pinging things in my mind that I definitely want to speak about.
Of course it does.
So going back to those demos a little bit, I just want to mention that basically what we did was the record Fear No Evil was released in Japan as well. It actually has a different cover over there, and there was a bonus track called For Your Dreams. So if anybody is a big fan and they got the Japanese version of it, we've pulled that from Japan, from the Japan release.
Nice.
There's a couple of others that are like that. There was a single over there.
Hard Times.
Right. There's a single for Hard Times released over there. It's kind of like an EP. It's got Saturday Night on it and a few other demos. She Knows How to Rumble and a few things. So everything that was officially released in Japan is also going to be a part of the bonus record.
Very nice.
In addition to that, I've chosen 4 or 5, I can't remember, probably 4 demos that have never been released before. The demo for Out of My Head, we won't give it all away. Out of My Head's my all-time favorite Slaughter song, so
nice.
It had to be on there. So, and it's really cool when you get to hear it. It's different than what ended up on the record. There's some different background vocals, but we won't give it all away.
There's some influences in there. Let's
yes,
put it that
for
way.
sure.
Okay.
So
yeah.
So when I first heard that a few years ago, I just like this has to be, this has to be. So and I also want to say that this is not just a one-off thing. We have the rights for not just Fear No Evil, but Revolution and Back to Reality, and we got the rights for the Wildlife. So we'll be doing it for all of them. I'm trying to go after Stick It To You. Friday Music has Stick It To You right now, the rights for that. But I said, hey, keep us in consideration. We'll do it at the end, So if Universal likes what we're doing, when I send their licensing department a copy of the Wildlife box, hopefully they'll say, yes, we want you to do that with Stick It To You too. Because Stick It To You would be, that's the pinnacle.
Pretty phenomenal.
And it would be huge because there is a lot of stuff to put in.
That's a lot of box right there.
That's a lot of That's right.
And as a fan, that's the stuff that gets me excited, because I love hearing the stories.
Yeah, there you go.
Demos and Jason, I had to interrupt you before with the Ace box, because I don't say it if I don't mean it. That box is phenomenal, and if this box is half of what that is, it'll be the second best box that ever was put out. So,
oh no, this is going to blow the Ace away. Just simply because of the audio content. The additional audio content. That being said, we did get 2 bonus tracks on that Ace record, that no one else had ever been able to do before. We got different mixes that we had mastered for vinyl and put on that record, and that's the only place that you can get them. It's not available. It is available digitally. I think there were download cards with that, but it was never available on CD. It was only available on vinyl, and 500 of those, and they're gone. That's it. So, but yeah, the content on this is 10 times more work than the Ace record was, and the Ace record was a lot of work.
Sure.
So pulling all these resources together.
It's a little pain in the ass, that's for sure. But you know what? It's done right, and again, having it remastered the proper way for vinyl,
right?
It makes a big difference than what everybody else is doing and throwing stuff out there. That's a key point with what, luckily, we've been creatively able to control all the way down the line. And that's one thing that we're really pleased about, the love that these guys are putting into, every aspect of what we release on vinyl is going to be phenomenal. So we'll have the right people. It'll be actually the original versions without mastering. We do have all those on DAT. So, luckily you're dealing with the producers, the writers, everything in-house. So it's a lot better than what you normally would get.
That's right. Wait till you open up the book, Mike, and you see the photo of the actual 2-inch tapes and the 1/4-inch mixed down masters. It's pretty awesome. So, but yeah, man, I'm not saying this just because Mark is on here, but look, I went after Slaughter first because outside of Kiss, Slaughter is in my top 3 favorite bands of all time. And right up there with King's X, huge King's X fan.
That's awesome.
And so I have such fond memories of this band. I've seen them close to between 30 and 40 times. Half of those, actually probably 3/4 of those times, was on the Fear No Evil, Revolution, and Back to Reality tours.
Nice.
So that era means more to me. I bought those records the day they came out. Though that era means more to me.
Mine's still sitting right here.
That's right. Mine's signed by the band.
Purchased in '95 when nobody else.
Look,
there you go.
You remember when we used to have CD booklet cases that you'd carry in your car with you, like Case Logic and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I used to have, it all lined up. Slaughter, Warrant, Skid Row, King's X, all of that
Same
stuff.
Here.
And you'd have the CD and you'd have the CD jacket in the backet. So when I would go see these guys, I would, I took those CD booklets in there and had them signed in silver paint pen. And I was like, well, if I put that back in there, it's gonna get hot in the car and it'll stick to it. So I actually laminated my CD booklets.
Oh wow!
So it has the signatures underneath the lamination. But
that's great.
But yeah, man, I've been a huge fan for a long time since before seeing them on the Hot in the Shade tour. I was already a fan then, so it means a lot to me.
Well, it's nice because I think the key point is, and I appreciate all the years, Jason, on that side and the friendship, but the most important part of it to me is these are our memories. It's not just the band. It's not like we just sit there on our band pedestal, so to speak. We were out there in the trenches. We got to know people. Everybody's probably got a picture with the band someplace along the line because we were very accessible. So, I mean, to us, that's our extended family. And look, nobody's getting rich off this thing. It's an expensive box set, but every nickel of it's going right back into the product to make it and to have it mastered properly and to make it exactly what we want it to be for that time capsule of those who care. It is that. And we're glad to be a part of it with Kiss My Wax Records. And there's not many of these things left. I've actually told people, you might as well buy it right now and just hold on to it because you're going to be able to resell it for double the money in a month or two. So it's like,
that's right.
It is what it is.
That's actually the whole idea, is to make it an instant collectible that goes up in value.
That's right.
So look at it as an investment. Buy the standard, listen to it, all you want. But you got an instant collectible and that goes up in value. That's what you want.
But you got to open that one to see if you got the ticket.
That's right.
That's right. You got to open it just for that. But that's the key point. That's the key point. And look, it's going to sound great. We know I've worked with Maor on some other stuff. did some tracks with Madam X. I actually mixed a few of those and sent it over to him. He gets it. He's the rock and roll guy for all mastering. So we've got it's good people involved all the way through. And I think that's a key point, is if it's done out of love for this, then it's done right. When people just do a money grab and throw it out there, it's not for the right reasons.
That's right.
And that's why I've done this and done these podcasts, because I just really want those people to know that it's available, because it's not going to be available for long.
That's right.
And Mark, I'll interject for a moment here that I'm a fan going back to the All Systems Go album. Love that album. Love your singing on that. Right. Saw you on the Hot in the Shade tour with Kiss multiple times. Saw you recently at M3. I guess it was a few years ago, probably 3-4 years ago. Right. So I've been there all throughout. And this album is just as good as anything you guys have done in the catalog. And that's why I think it's important that people know that this is available, because Jason, you just said it, it's not going to be much longer, right? And then people are going to be buying it for double the amount online.
That's the hope.
Right. Yeah.
That's the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it. And here we are going, actually, after we do this show today and also in Colorado on Saturday, we're doing M3 on July 2nd. So here we go back into M3, and it's full blown, more tickets sold than they have in all the other years. I mean, it's like the pandemic is over, and it's crazy because, we're still looking at it like going, man, aren't we worried that this is going to happen again? But we're out playing and everybody's packing it out. They just released the lawn, so it looks like everything's kind of back to normal in the rock and roll side of things. So there we go.
It's good to be back on the road. Hopefully, fingers crossed that everything goes smoothly.
Well, that's right.
I'm in New York, and the Foo Fighters just played Madison Square Garden Sunday night, full sold out show, full capacity. So fingers crossed. That's what it's going to be like now for the rest of it going forward.
Yeah, let's hope. That's right. So listen, I really want to. I want to say I appreciate you featuring us on your show today, and any time that you're ever wanting to come around the old slaughter camp, you know how to reach out to us. But thank you, and thanks to all the subscribers to your channel. Look, we all love music. It's not just slaughter; it's all music. And same thing goes for me. I listen to stuff that's so obscure we can't even talk about it.
That's right.
But it's the love of music, and I think that's a key point. If it makes you feel good, and as Paul Stanley said a long time ago, if it makes you want to squeeze something, then it's good. And there you go.
That's great.
So we're good, and it makes you want to squeeze all day. Let's make it happen.
That's a perfect way to end.
Perfect way to end. Well, thank you both for joining. Mark, good luck with the shows coming up. Good luck tonight with the show. And
thank you.
Hopefully all the fans can see you out on the road, over the next few months.
Yeah. Hopefully soon. Everybody stay safe. And again, let's turn our records up real loud in the meantime and enjoy it all. And by the way, this is pre-order, so if people buy this, it's going to be available in September. So don't think you're just going to get it immediately.
Yep.
Dana Bloss and Dana Bloss and myself are going to meet in Nashville at my place, and we're going to sign all these together. It's not going to be us just throwing things around. So again, that extra love of us really putting our hearts into this is the key point. So
we'll have
really
photos
cool.
and we'll have photos and video of that. Another key point to say, Mark mentioned September, of course, hopefully September, but it may be later. It's the vinyl backlog and pressing is unreal. I actually just put in a question today with our pressing plant, because it's actually it's going to be pressed where I work. And I was like, can you give me any semblance of the timeline? So I just hope everybody is patient. I've already had to answer several questions, hey, when's our order shipping? Hey, just be patient. We'll get it to you. Right. But everything is happening. The cogs are moving in the system. I promise you. And we'll update on our social medias everywhere. So
awesome.
And everybody understand that, vinyl itself is up 900% of where it was, and outselling CDs at this point. So, but when there's a changeover from vinyl to CD, what happened is half these idiots destroyed all the plants and all the pressings that would press these records. So now we're down to basically working on first gear with all the records, not just ours, but everybody's. So that's the reason why the delay. It's not like we're just sitting on a big pile of money. Because
no.
There ain't no pile of money that we're sitting on. Otherwise, I wouldn't be reaching out to you from my lovely cabin up here in Minnesota right now.
Yeah, I try to let everybody know, I work for United Record Pressing, which is the oldest and largest pressing plant in North America, and we have like 60 presses. We press like 60,000 records a day, and there's still an 18-week backlog to get anything pressed. 18 weeks.
Well, Jason, you probably noticed that the new Kiss album, I know some people are complaining that theirs was held up and delayed.
It was.
So it is what it is. It is what it is right now in the industry. And like you said, hopefully it'll be September.
Yeah, and if you want to complain, go to Home Depot and buy a 2x4. That'll give you something to complain with. Because trust me, you can't do any home improvements right now. It won't just really. That's like one talk about percentage up. That's 900%.
That's right.
Pisses me off. Anyway, that's another show. We'll get into that.
Tune in next week when we talk about home improvements with Mark Slaughter.
Lumber Talk with Mark Slaughter.
That's right, exactly. That OSB is too damn much.
Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Well, thank you both. I really appreciate it. We look forward to it. Jason, I hope you go forward with the other boxes that you were talking about for Slaughter. It sounds like it's coming forward. So everybody go check it out. What's the website?
KissMyWaxRecords.com.
Awesome. And go buy the standard, buy the deluxe. There's only 80 or so deluxe left. So do not delay. If you delay, you're going to miss out. You're going to pay double on eBay. You don't want to do that. Go purchase it. Thank you guys both for really taking the time today.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And enjoy the show today, Mark. Wish I could be there with you guys.
Thank you. Absolutely. We'll see you soon. All right.
Thanks, Mike.
Ciao.
Yep. Bye-bye. All righty. There you have it. I'd like to thank both Mark and Jason for joining me today and sharing all that exciting information about the upcoming Fear No Evil release on vinyl for the first time ever. It sounds really exciting, and I highly suggest you guys go check it out. You could find more information about it at www.kissmywaxrecords.com. Go check that out and place your pre-order now. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button below. If you're listening to one of my podcasts, subscribe over there as well. Also, head on over to Facebook and follow my page, The Rock Experience with Mike Brunn, where each and every day we talk about all the rock and roll music that you love. You should also follow me on Instagram and Twitter as well. That's it for this episode. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you all next time.